You guys, what's going on? It's Friday, and it's time for another one of these discussions.
You got the thing on.
I got the Dracula's Bed and Breakfast sign on.
Yep.
Well, I had to buy a what do you call those things?
Extension cord.
Yeah, extension cord.
Yeah.
I'm getting mad cow disease. I'm getting like holes chewed into my brain because I can't remember shit. But yeah, the thing about it was that all of those colored lights over there, they already took up all the plugs, like big time. So the extension cord, I had to plug it in way over there. Good thing I got a 15-foot long one.
Yep.
Because otherwise it wouldn't have reached. Zach says, so today was officially my last day at my awful old job. And when I left, I felt like Nicole Kidman in those pictures when she signed the divorce papers from Tom Cruise. Wait, they got pictures of that? I need to see that. I need to see some Google evidence of that. Was she just sitting there going, yes! I'm take away from this freak.
That's a lot better. I turn that fan on.
Yeah.
It's hot in here. It's because the sun's going down over there.
Well, yeah, it's weird because usually it's really cold in here. That's why I have a jacket all the time.
End of the day, the sun's setting right there. It's fucking.
But yeah, it does kind of get hot in here
house.
like this. Yeah, because it's coming in the bathroom. Because the windows over there's 2 windows, but I always keep the curtains over them.
So today is basically Open Lines Friday. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. We'll sit here, we'll drink, and we may be going to mannequins tonight.
Maybe
I'm in the mood.
All right, I could go. I'll see how I feel.
Yeah. So.
You have to give me a little bit of time to.
Yeah, we'll have to shut the show down a little bit early.
I already know if we go. I already know what I would wear probably. Okay. Although I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with my hair. I don't really feel like wearing a wig. But
no, you don't wear a wig. Okay.
Well, it's just too hot, and it gives me a headache if I wear them too long. You know what I mean? Because if you wear them out, you have to clip them underneath here, and it gives me a headache.
It's not hot outside though. It wasn't today.
I think it only got to 8. Well,
yeah.
My computer says it's 82, which is that's
most of the day
that's winter for here.
Most of the day was
82.
Most of the day was in the 70s.
Degrees. What's up, Dave? Hello, you two. He says.
Yeah.
You're probably going to mannequins. We might go too.
We might go.
I don't know. We might go later. Like I said, it doesn't. Whenever we shut the show down, if we still feel like going, it's not like we have to get there at any particular time or anything like that. But we haven't been to mannequins in a really long time.
No.
And I guess that's just because it's weird because mannequins is closer.
Yeah.
Than Barbarella, but Barbarella is easier to get to because you can go there on total. What do you call those things?
Toll roads.
Toll roads.
See, she doesn't know how to say toll roads.
Well, no, I'm having a hard time remembering stuff today. I don't really know why. Like I said.
Let me check the bank situation.
Dave said it should be a fun one tonight. What is the theme tonight? I'm sure it has a theme, and I'm sure I probably did the poster for it, but I do so many posters that I don't remember. And I was going to say, too, that this weekend is Absolution in Tampa. The Goth Festival.
Yeah.
But, because they asked... Mark Paradise asked if we were going, and I was like, well, I don't know, because that's kind of a long drive. They'd let us in for free, but Zach says I just sent Tom the pictures on Facebook. It's hilarious. The ones of Nicole Kidman divorcing Tom Cruise, signing the divorce papers. Murder Hornet said, can we talk about fleshlights? If you like. I don't really have any experience with them, but I'm sure some people do. Oh, it's Cyberpunk tonight.
Oh, is it?
That's right. Yeah. I did that poster. I remember that. Like I said, I do the posters, but I do, usually Tina will ask me to do, a batch of them at a time, 2 or 3 at a time, so I don't, remember what the dates are. You know what I mean? Because they usually like to have, a different thing every Friday, and it just all kind of runs together. Murder Hornet said, just laying here shooting smack. Okay. Well, hey, you do you. This peach vodka is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I'm not usually a big fan of peach things, but it's good with orange juice.
That's supposed to be Nicole Kidman. Getting divorced from Tom Cruise.
I believe it.
I say.
That's hysterical. Well, I especially like. Well, show me. Oh, well, never mind.
What?
I especially like that one.
Yeah.
Because she just looks like, yes, I'm free. Dave says, by the way, you kick ass on them posters too. Well, thank you very much. I do try to like make cool looking ones.
I never really, you know, you look at Nicole Kidman, and that, to me, that just doesn't look like a Tom Cruise girlfriend. She looks too tall and pale, you know.
And I always kind of got the impression that Nicole Kidman, I don't know her, obviously. Like, I've only seen her in movies and stuff, and I think she's a great actress. But she seems to me like someone that wouldn't put up with his bullshit.
She doesn't seem like, well, yeah, that's one way of putting it. But she also doesn't seem to be any fun, to me. She doesn't seem
neither does he.
Yeah,
it's just in a different way.
Yeah. He's probably pretty, oh, yeah, of course, man, let's do it, yeah. He's like one of those kind of guys.
I don't know. I don't know.
According to well, I don't want to say according to Scientologists, because fucking they're all going to tell you, but according to things that I've heard come out of the Scientology scene, the closest thing he had to a buddy was David Miscavige, and David Miscavige talked about him behind his back like he was a douche.
I mean, in David Miscavige's defense, which is the only time I'm ever going to say this, because he is also a chode.
Yeah, he's
but
a chode too.
Tom Cruise probably is a douche. So even a stop clock is right twice a day.
There's some kind of short guy thing going on. It's like a short guy mafia. If you're short, you know what I'm talking about. They're in the fucking short guy.
Are you in it, Tom?
Yeah, fucking right. They're in the short
He runs the local chapter.
The short guy mafia. You throw a bunch of short guys together, then all of a sudden they're buddies and shit. But they're kind of like little people. Like, you know, it's a polite word for, you know, like dwarves and shit, where they got to be the only one. Then they start hating on each other. There's too many of them. They start hating on each other.
Yeah, we've told that story before too, because we have a friend who's a little person.
Yeah.
And his name is Tito.
He works at Universal.
He works at Universal. I guess he still does, and he works at
He's hilarious.
ASPCA too, I think.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's awesome. But the funny thing is that for a little while, like when Ibar was still Ibar, there was another little person who we didn't know.
Who was younger,
and he started coming there too. And man, Tito would get so pissed. Like every time he's like, "There's that motherfucker. That other one is here."
He'd be going like, "What's wrong, man?" Like that. What's wrong? What's wrong, man? He's pointing at the other guy on the dance floor, and he goes, "I hate him." He goes, "What's the problem?" He goes, "You don't understand, man," because he's Latino. "You don't understand, man. There can be only one. There can be only one." He's hilarious.
Little people are like Highlanders, like that.
And he wants.
If there's another one in the area, they don't like it because it's like, well, they're taking all the attention away.
They're taking all the attention away.
But that guy, I only saw that other guy. We never met the other guy.
No, 3 or 4 times.
I only saw him like 3 or 4 times, and nobody knew. Whereas like everybody knows who Tito is, but because he's kind of like a regular.
Yeah. Tito would be like, "Come on, man. I don't want to get you in trouble, but if you throw me off the top," because there was 2 levels.
Yeah.
Because there was like an upper floor to the club, and then there's a dance floor. This is over at the old
place downtown.
Old independent bar. And he was like, "We'll get somebody to catch me," and he's because he's an acrobat. Yeah. And dresses up as Ewoks, for fucking, and all different other kind of characters at Disney. They put him in these costumes.
He does Disney and Universal, I think, because I know he was a minion for a while too.
Right. So he was an actor, kind of in the show business, So he did not want to be. He had to be the center of attention. Did you understand that?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, he'd get drunk and he'd try to invent in his head how he was going to steal the attention from the entire club
by jumping off the second floor balcony of the club onto the dance floor.
That was one of the things.
And hopefully someone would catch him.
First, he wanted me to throw him. He wanted me to throw him, and we'd like fake a fight and I'd throw him, and then we have somebody else catch him, and he was like, fucking. When the guy was catching him, he'd roll off his back or something, and then roll, and then come out and do like a ta-da across the dance floor and shit, because he was an acrobat.
Yeah, he had it all planned out.
He had it all planned out. And he was like, "I don't want you to I don't want to get you in trouble. You don't have to throw me. You catch me." You'll be the hero. You know, he's fucking funny. Yeah.
I didn't see Tito in a long time.
No.
I wonder
and we'd be drunk and shit.
Thinking of all these fucking schemes.
So I'm like, yeah. So I'm trying to, I'm reviewing this in my head. I can't believe that it didn't happen. Because it probably should have, and we should have gotten a lot of fucking trouble. I can imagine his drunk ass jumping off the top fucking balcony, doing a swan dive, and my drunk ass trying to catch him, and some shit going wrong.
I think that probably would have worked out very, very badly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's far. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, you would definitely. I don't know if you'd necessarily die, but you would probably break a whole bunch of bones.
And he wasn't light. He weighed what a man weighed. He just had short arms and legs.
Yeah.
You know.
And that dance floor was like hard. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if you like jumped off there and like jammed, and also there was that kind of little stage situation that had kind of like the metal bars on it. If you landed on that, yeah, you'd be in big trouble. You'd probably like break your back. Yeah. I would imagine.
He had a normal sized body and everything. He just had short arms and legs. And I get sick of fucking talking down to him when he's standing up at the bar, remember? So I'd grab a damn chair.
Yeah.
Make him stand in a chair. It's fucking funny.
You're so mean, Tom. He's like, I can't help it. Like, he can't help like being that tall.
I remember I put him up on a block or something.
Yeah, I think.
But he's fucking funny. You know, it didn't matter. So you come up here, man. You come up here with me. I says, yeah, I'm up here with you now. And he'd fucking get loaded and scope out chicks. He'd scope out chicks. He says, "Oh man, look at her. Oh, like he was Puerto Rican, so he's looking at ass and shit. You know, he goes, "Oh my god, look at her." You know.
He did pretty well with women, I thought.
Yeah, oh yeah. He could talk to women.
Well, because like I said, he was super funny and he was like really charming and stuff.
He was in show business.
Yeah.
If you guys don't think that women won't make out with dwarves, you're fucking crazy. They had a damn midget wrestling event.
They had that a few times. Like, I feel like they did that annually for a while.
And evidently it was a huge hit. Huge hit. And it was a huge hit with the ladies.
Yeah.
Most of those dwarves ended up with their, like, faces embedded in fucking cleavage and running off, fucking leaving with these girls, you know, in their little fucking wrestler outfits.
See, I told you that a lot of times, if you have like a good personality and you're funny and like kind of outgoing fun and stuff like that,
they were athletic guys, you know, little short athletic guys.
Then women will like you. You know what I mean? It's not a mystery. Not a mystery.
Funny.
Zach says they're talking about fleshlights. Zach said, "Now I'm wondering what a fleshlight design for a woman would be." So like, well, we don't need fleshlights because we're on the receiving end of that. Yeah. We are a fleshlight. We're a living fleshlight. Let's see. Zach also says, well, she was willing to put up with Stanley Kubrick's bullshit. Yeah, but I mean, she wouldn't have to like. She wasn't married to Stanley Kubrick, though. I mean, I can imagine how that was probably a pain in the ass for however long it took to shoot Eyes Wide Shut. But you knew that you could like go back to your trailer at the end of the day and be like, that motherfucker. You couldn't like, you know what I mean? If you were married to Tom Cruise, you can't like get away from Tom Cruise. You know what I mean? Because you're married to him. So, you know what I mean? Zach says, I like to think Tom Cruise is a good person deep down. He's just extremely deluded. Yeah, he only got into Scientology because his first wife before Kidman got him into it. Yeah, I think that was Mimi Rogers, actually. Whatever happened to her?
I don't know. I already gave my theory. I mean, I'll fucking say it again if you guys want. You know, it's a new listeners can hear it. You know, Jenny worked at a place where it was a Scientology run business and just had to do a crazy Scientologist. And I ran into some Scientologists one time when I was over at Starbucks, and I didn't know what I was dealing with until later. Just how these crazy motherfuckers.
It's like so hard to explain if you haven't been around them like all the time.
And it's like, imagine you have a bunch of idiots that think they're fucking smarter than you. You know what I mean? And
which
they
is
don't
one
know
of
what
my
they're
least
talking
favorite
about.
Things.
Yeah.
Because I don't know like how to deal with that. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, because there's nothing you can do to like crack through their facade because they're so deluded that...
And it's kind of like a LARPing situation, but they grow up in it, so they don't know any better, and they can't fit in with the regular world, really. But,
yeah, because some of them were raised in it. And, like, some of the people that I worked with had grown up in it. Like, they didn't know anything. They didn't know hardly anything about the outside world, like, at all.
The
like,
ones
some of
that,
them were, like,
the ones
teenagers.
I ran into were not public Scientologists. They were, I think they were from Flag Base. They were the people, the office people. That's what I think they were. I don't think they were. They weren't wearing uniforms. I don't think they were Sea Org. I think they're called staff, right? And staff. And they have. They were probably from.
Big Blue.
Yeah, like what's the name of that town?
Clearwater.
They're probably from Clearwater.
That's where I lived.
Yeah.
And that's where the company I worked.
Because they were right outside I-4 there at I-4 and 434 at that Starbucks.
That
right
Starbucks
there.
they used to.
So
go
they
to
must
all
have
the
been
time,
going south, headed south to go to Flag, or not Big Blue. It's Big Blue's in California, isn't it?
No, it's in Clearwater.
It's in Clearwater. Okay.
Pretty sure, isn't it?
No, that's the one in California. That's the hospital that they painted blue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot.
It's not that one. That's near Hollywood. It's I think it's called Flag Base.
Yeah.
You know what it's called?
Yeah.
Flag
Because
Base.
Clearwater's kind of their main hub. They
Yeah.
have hubs everywhere, but Clearwater's kind of their main one.
So I'm pretty sure that's where they were going.
That's the thing, because I mean, when I first moved over there, I lived in Tampa, and I had a job in Tampa, but then I got the job with that place, and it paid more. So even though it was a farther drive, because I had to drive over the bridge, because I don't know if you like Tampa's kind of on the mainland, but then Clearwater and St. Pete are like on this little thing. It's not an island, but it's kind of like it's still attached to the mainland, but there's like a big like inlet, and so there's like a big long causeway that you have to drive across, like all this water. And so I started driving over there, and then I was like, well, they're kind of weirdos, but at least like the pay is okay. And then I was like, maybe I should move closer, because I got sick of like driving back and forth, because it was like 20 miles. And so then I got an apartment closer to the place, and then I worked there for about 8 months, and I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, or I'm going to kill someone or myself. Yeah. Because I just couldn't fucking deal with it anymore. I said, being around people like that, and not everybody that worked there was Scientologists. There were some normal people there. So that probably saved my sanity somewhat, but it got to a point where it was like you couldn't even, because Clearwater is so Scientology focused, that even when I wasn't at work, like around Scientologists, I got to a thing where, I'd just be in the grocery store and being like, I bet they're a Scientologist. Are they Scientologists too? I'm just like, I got like paranoid. And I was like, I don't want to live like this, you know what I mean? Like, thinking that all the time, because...
Then there's all these Scientology splinter groups, which are Scientology, but it's cheaper. And it's made from ex-Scientologists. Remember that?
Yeah.
I went to fucking... I don't think you were with me.
Didn't Marty Rathbun do one of those?
Yeah. But they'll change it up a little bit, and it'll be another version of Scientology. They have that out there, too. People that leave Scientology try to give a cheaper alternative.
Murder Hornet said squirrels. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, squirrels.
They're squirrel in the tech.
Squirrel in tech.
Squirrel in the tech.
So,
that's another thing I couldn't stand. I'm like, why are you guys like making up phrases for stuff that already has? I don't know. It just seemed really dumb. Like all of the stuff that I had to read, like all of L. Ron Hubbard stuff and all of their like creepy like corporate speak kind of stuff. And it's just like, I was like, that there's a phrase for that already, right? Like, why do you have to make up your own silly little phrase for something that already has like an acknowledged phrase that means?
It's a fascinating cult. It's basically a UFO cult, basically, that has inquisition and exorcism of alien souls, demonic souls that have attached to you, and the inquisition is done on a lie detector. Overall, it's kind of like the basic framework of the religion is the old Anton LaVey make a motherfucker a wizard model, where if you pay me enough money, you can level up until you're a wizard, and then you're wizard level 5 and wizard level 6, and each level you got to pay more money, and You never really get the magical powers. They're doing the same thing. It's a very corporate, because L. Ron Hubbard, he was not an idiot. He knew how to sell things and to kind of put on a con job to a certain extent. It's a mixture of the Navy, which he was a naval commander. He was commander of like some kind of anti-submarine vessel for a little while. He didn't really do anything important though. Just commanded that vessel. It's a mixture of the Navy and a corporation and a religion and making a motherfucker a wizard. But in this case, they're making you. They're making you a Jedi. Basically, is what they're doing.
Yeah.
And this is before Star Wars.
Mostly, they're just emptying your.
Mostly emptying your pocket. Although, I kind of think L. Ron Hubbard believed it. I think he believed it over time, because they said he died doing talking to alien souls, and
he bullshitted himself. So hard that it just came back and slapped his own self in the face. Yeah. He probably didn't believe it at first, but like I said, honestly, the best con men are the ones that believe their own bullshit, because they're able to because it comes across as genuine, because they're actually delusional and believe their own shit.
Now,
Gramthars said, who would you rather have as a neighbor, a Scientologist or a Mormon?
A Mormon.
I'm gonna go with Mormon.
Mormon, easily.
Also, I mean, Scientologists. I mean, Mormons are kind of obnoxious, but Scientologists are like super obnoxious.
Mormons I've dealt with were stand-up people. You could trust them. Depend on.
I've only known one or two Mormons in my whole entire life, and they seemed fine.
You could trust them.
They seemed lovely. Actually, the two that I've known, it's like you probably wouldn't even know they were Mormon.
Yeah.
Like, unless you specifically asked about it. They didn't, like, get all up in your face about it. Scientologists, talking to Scientologists, particularly people that grew up in it, you can tell there's something wrong with them, like, immediately. Yeah. Even if they don't tell you they're a Scientologist, you're like, I don't like that person.
They've grown up in an alternate mind space, which really skews your view of reality. Because they believe in a lot of things that are absolutely not true, but they believe that they're true.
Mm-hmm.
But now some people say, well, there's a lot of religions where people believe in Scientology is different. All right.
I mean, it's the same, but it's also different. If that makes any sense.
Scientology is a lot more invasive. It's a lot more totalitarian, and it has a lot of elements of totalitarian communism in it in a way, or what's his name, Jim Jones cult almost, where if you are not obeying, then you gotta be shunned. You know what I mean?
That's what I said. I think that's why it's kind of classified more as a cult, because like, Christianity and stuff. As much as I'm not a big fan of religion in general, Christianity and stuff like that, people can come and go as they please. They don't charge you $50,000 for like, you can just go get a Bible somewhere and read it and like say, hey, I'm a Christian. And everyone's like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, no one's gonna care about it really. But I mean, Scientology has this whole, you have to do this exactly like this, and you have to do things the way we want them, and it's like you have to do things in this very, very structured kind of way, and if you do it wrong, then you get in trouble, and then we're going to put, you know what I mean? It's just like very, very, very...
Yeah, but I am correct. Marxism can also, in certain elements of Marxism, can also be classified as a faith. It's a very faith-like system, or a very faith-like collection of almost like holy scriptures, the books that are being written. And it's, Karl Marx is very L. Ron Hubbard-ish. It's just the topic's a little bit different, but it's there's a lot of crossover, especially when you start getting into Frankfurt School stuff. It is pretending to be science, but it is not. It's not even social science. It's faith. It's just written in a scholarly fashion because the guys that wrote it had Marxist materials, have a high verbal IQ, and they have a fairly good education, so they can fake a scholarly work, even though it doesn't make any sense when you actually... It's philosophy. And philosophy is only a step away from religion anyway. That's all it is. You got to be careful of philosophy. It's a type of religion. So is politics. Politics is a type of philosophy. So it's all kind of in that same, what do you call it, spectrum. You got to be real careful. Belief is what it is. And belief can bite you in the ass because the human mind is not real good at filtering out fucking reality from bullshit. You can believe in some bullshit just 100% and it's not true. They got people that think that you can fly if you have enough faith. And they'll jump off buildings. They didn't fly.
Spoiler
They
alert.
splashed. Like that.
Well, it takes them out of the gene pool. Anyway.
Yeah.
Danny Rolling said Wiccan sounds like the best religion, just because it's all nature and shit. Honestly, I always thought that too. If I was going to be of any religion, which I'm not because it's not my thing, but yeah, Wicca just seems very chill.
It's hocus pocus, though.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that, but it's just kind of like they're not hurting anybody, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they want to believe that they can stand around in a circle with crystals and chant and stuff, and that'll like bring them, it's like whatever, fine. It's not hurting anybody.
It's
but
not
yeah,
very
that's
old though either. I think
no, it's not.
I think it's 1960s.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the roots of it are a little bit older than that, but not. Yeah, it's not like the ancient. Yeah, they do take traditions from like much older stuff, but Wicca, as you understand it nowadays, is mostly like a 60s thing.
Yeah, and you can write a Wicca book and it'd be this year and it would be accepted.
Camp Guy
It's a work
said,
in progress.
I remember when the Hare Krishnas used to be in the Atlanta airport and at the rest stop, the Georgia-Florida rest stop, on I-75. Yeah, I remember them. You don't really see them anymore,
No.
but I remember that being like a big thing like
They
in
would
the
get
70s.
busted. They would get busted. A lot of people don't realize that the main objective for the Hare Krishna was to pick up young, good-looking girls and guys. That's all it was. They were looking for young, good-looking people so they could take back to their little fucking compound and have sex with them. That's what it was. More like a sex cult. The Hare Krishna weren't honest, and it was constantly changing members. I saw a whole fucking report on them. They were more like sexual predators.
Yeah, Murder Hornet points out that LRH modeled Scientology after the Temple of the Golden Dawn. Yep. Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
I think we talked
It's the
about that
same
some on
structure.
like kind of some of the Scientology shows, and I think the show we did about Jack Parsons that was in the Aleister Crowley show and stuff
It's
like
to
that.
make a motherfucker a wizard business model. You can make a lot of money making a motherfucker into a wizard. You got dudes that want to be a
Evidently.
wizard.
I mean, if I thought that it was possible to become a wizard, I would want to become a wizard
Yeah.
too, but it's not possible, so I'm just not going to bother.
Make a motherfucker a Jedi.
It'd be neat if you
Yeah.
could, but you can't. You can't.
But there's a lot of genius in certain ways in Scientology. You know what I mean? There's a lot of books that you have to read. It's gobbledygook. You kind of, if you're a Scientologist, you want to believe it. It has a very corporate image on the outside of it, so therefore it must be true, which is something that from Hubbard's day, that was a good sales tactic because it was at the end of World War II, at the beginnings of the fucking merger of the fucking military-industrial complex, where the military and the government started to have more of a corporate appearance because it had all kind of merged together. And it followed that religion should start having a corporate appearance. That it would, in those days with those generations, if something looked corporate and official, you could trust it. So that was a very good tactic to go for a corporate religion. It grew. People liked
And
it.
meanwhile, it just creeped me out even more.
Yeah.
Because I hate all that corporate shit.
It's a corporate religion. Now here's some
All of
things.
the jargon they come up with and stuff like that. It
Yeah.
just, oh my God, it gives me a migraine. All of that crap. Dave says, hey, gotta go. I hope to see you both there. Love you. We love
Yeah,
you
we'll
too,
probably be
Dave.
there.
We'll probably go, yeah. I don't know when we're going to get there, but we'll get there.
Now the thing about Hubbard, contrary to what you might think, what I've said about Scientology so far, I'm not anti-Hubbard. I'm trying to look at Hubbard from a realistic viewpoint. The cult liked Hubbard, and he was a good leader to them. They had a lot of fond nostalgia for Hubbard. In the old days of the cult, Hubbard fucking was evidently much loved, and he didn't sexually abuse people. which that's very weird.
Yeah, I think he's maybe the only cult leader that didn't do that.
And he was surrounded by cute young cabin girls who were like his secretaries and stuff, and he evidently never, according to those girls, they said that no, he kept his hands to himself, and everybody, he was very respectful. And he would sit out there on the free winds and tell all these stories, and they would about what was happening on other planets and alien souls and shit, and they'd be out there all enraptured at his bullshit. You know, he's channeling it. He's like the Messiah. He's the source of all this. That's the way they believe. You know, so he's channeling it all. So in some ways, Hubbard had good character. In a certain way, in many ways, he was not abusing his power. Usually, the hallmark of a cult is that you abuse your power to get money and sex.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the reason why most of them are formed.
Yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard was just
he was after money,
crazy,
but he wasn't getting the sex. He evidently respected women in that way. Try to think of another thing that made him different is I think he actually believed a lot of what he was saying. And I also think he thought the technology, and that's what they call it, the spiritual technology, I think he thought it was an experimental work in progress, and that it was something that he could slowly bring into existence through experimentation. I think he thought it was working. But I also think that he knew he could make money with it. So it was kind of a... But they would have thought that was a good thing, that you had to make money in order to get the cult to expand, to save the Earth. Were they saving the Earth? No. No. You weren't going to clear the planet. That's what they call it. Make everybody clear. You weren't going to clear the planet at the prices Scientology was asking for.
Yeah, who the fuck can afford that?
You had to have $30,000 per person to clear the planet. Nobody was going to spend that kind of money.
Well, some people will, but it's only if they have that to piss away, though.
Yeah,
which must be nice.
It was a rich white person's religion.
Yeah, big deal.
What it was.
Yeah, Murder Hornet said, "Do the Hubbard lips, Tom."
Okay. Well, we have to know that on...
Stick them out more, you get them. Like that.
On Proxima Centauri, because he would have mispronounced some shit. We had a bunch of aliens called the Freebers, and the Freebers had their own spaceships. They looked kind of like DC-9s.
Then there was a
atomic bombs.
Volcano, and there was a
volcano.
Yeah. You don't have big enough lips for that. His lips looked like, I don't know. They were very anus-like.
Poor L. Ron.
And hey, he's dead. He doesn't care. Even though Louis just said LRH isn't dead, he's doing research on another planet. Yeah, well, you know, he can just
dropped his body.
He can just come back to this planet and get me if he's mad. I'm just saying. Come on, LRH. Glenn Little said, "Oh yeah, he kept his hands to himself. Wasn't he a compulsive masturbator?" Then again, who isn't? Maybe he was.
I never heard that.
Maybe he was. I haven't heard that either. I mean, no shame. Like I said, they're not hurting anybody.
The only thing character-wise I could say that was kind of negative about LRH is that he wasn't a very good family man. He'd fuck over wives and children, his wives and children. If he did, he had a son he didn't really approve of because he was evidently gay. He fucked that one over. He wasn't real. He didn't have strong emotional connections with wives and family members. That's the only thing I could...
Well, the shit that he was doing was just too important, man.
It's too important.
Although, like I said, I've read a lot of LRH's stuff because I had to, for work and stuff like that. Dude was clearly delusional. I mean, I'm not even a psychiatrist, and I'm pretty confident saying that. I mean, he really had some issues. He really had some issues. Like, some of the shit that he wrote, I was just kind of like, well, all right.
I like to put him inside the cult leader spectrum. When you put him inside the spectrum of cult leaders, he's way above Jim Jones. All right, a lot better than that. I'd say he's just right underneath Hung Sung Moon, Reverend Moon. I think Reverend Moon's a little bit better.
We still haven't done a show about the Moonies. I keep putting it, it's on my list still, and I keep putting it in the poll every now and then, but we never did do it. That's actually like a really interesting. The thing about L. Ron Hubbard is that, you know, he just started the shit like to make money, more or less, and he did seem to be kind of to an extent like a true believer. I think he believed it more like as time went on. But I don't know how much you can hold him responsible for like what happened after he died, because I would argue, I mean, Scientology is easily one of the most powerful cults.
It was. I don't think it is anymore.
Not anymore, but I mean, just to the extent, because most cults are very, very small and very localized, and it's like they don't have the same kind of power and money and influence that Scientology had and still has to a lesser degree.
Scientology was the only organization that ever significantly, in a large number, penetrated the FBI and parts of the federal government. It was called Operation Snow White. That's some wild shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And they got away with it. Mm-hmm. Only LRH's wife went to prison. He's like, yeah, fuck her. She was responsible. He didn't go. He didn't go to prison. Behind it. He made her do his jail time.
I tell you what, if you pulled some shit like that on me, I'd smother you in your fucking sleep.
Made her do his jail time. And what was funny is that he penetrated the FBI because he was convinced that the FBI was coming after him and the church.
Like they weren't before, but now they are.
So he had all these church members become FBI employees and work their way into a lot, and there was a lot of them, and they were in there as FBI and Scientologists, and it was just to know he just wanted to know what the FBI knew about him, and it turned out nothing. He did it for nothing. The FBI had no interest in Scientology.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, well, like I said, and now they do. Good job, dumbass. Probably should have just like kept your nose clean and like kept to yourself, and nobody would have even.
Yeah,
but the thing
was real important.
Well, yeah, the thing about it, like I said, if you read his writings to any great extent, like he's very delusional, and a lot of times, like with that delusion comes paranoia, like, and you think like you're a lot more important than you are, and like a lot of people care what you're doing, but. The only reason they started caring what he was doing because he pulled that shit. It was like, oh, well, obviously now we have to watch you because Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But before that, they didn't give a crap about them. They weren't doing anything in particular.
It's funny because it's a large, wealthy cult that has a corporate look to it that owns a lot of expensive properties. It looks from the outside like something very successful, something that would have a lot of secret knowledge and would be like real high tech, you know. But it's really much ado about nothing, really. It's illusion. And what the church has kind of evolved into is kind of like a real estate scam. It's more like just something that holds a bunch of real estate. It's weird. It wasn't supposed to be that way. It's not what they were trying to do. But they can't hoard money because they're supposed to be a charity. So they have to keep buying things. So they keep buying properties and turning them into basically bookstores, religious bookstores. But they don't sell any books. But they put people in there and have people pulling duty at a religious bookstore that just sells one book over and over again. It's crazy. Crazy when you think about it. It's like they're like Potemkin cities out of some communist country. So I was saying there's a lot of elements of like a communist, totalitarian quality to it, kind of like something you'd see out of North Korea, where it's all artificial, you know, like an artificial store, an artificial religious bookstore, selling one book over and over and over and over again, with fucking TVs blaring and, you know, the same video, and it's totally fake. They don't intend to sell any books out of that. Because those books don't sell. Nobody's interested in that.
Louis said, wasn't LRH on psychiatric drugs when he dropped his body?
I don't think
he dropped his body.
Whoops. No, they didn't take any. They did not believe in psychiatry or psychology at all.
Well, that doesn't mean that he wasn't on the shit.
No, he wasn't. He was on other drugs though. But if I remember correctly, Scientology was supposed to be an answer to psychiatry and psychology, that it supplants it, and they weren't allowed any of that kind of shit. I think, if I remember correctly, he was not in good mental health. I forgot what it was he was taking. But they didn't take any kind of psychoactive pharmaceuticals, from what I remember. They weren't allowed any of those. But I think, like, it wouldn't surprise me if L. Ron Hubbard took LSD or something, you know. But I'd have to go back and look. I know he was kind of out of his mind in the final years. And that was during the time that David Miscavige started to, who was kind of like a top flunky of the church, was positioning himself for a total takeover. And he took over the church. Did it by eliminating a bunch of people. He eliminated them by accusing them of fucking stealing money and accusing them of being somehow linked to the death of L. Ron Hubbard, and he was able to get rid of a bunch of people that were above him through that. And then he ended up being head of the church. COB, chairman of the board.
Gramthars said, doesn't Reverend Moon's son have some AR-15 cult in Arizona called Gun Church?
I don't know.
I've heard of that, but I didn't know that if it was Reverend Moon's son, though. We should probably look that up.
We'll look into it. Moon was cool in a weird way. He was Christian, but like a paranormal Christian, kind of like if a Christian was a Jedi. Into spiritualism. He said that they were real right wing, anti-communist. And at one time, Moon said that he left his body and astrally projected, and in the astral world did the things that had to be done to cause the collapse of the Soviet Union. That he caused the collapse of the Soviet Union and communism. That's quite a claim. But that's the kind of badass shit that a cult leader should claim. If you have a huge cult, and the Moonies had a huge cult, a lot of money, and a lot of nice buildings and everything. You know, they're not a two-bit organization. It looked like fucking mansions and nice buildings. And they were in Korea and in the United States, and they might be in a couple other countries. I don't know. The only thing that I've heard that was bad about the Moonies is they do disconnection. And disconnection is not
pretty much all cults do that to a degree. That's right. One of the ways that you know that it's a cult. When they discourage you from any outside information, or discourage you from like talking to
relatives that left
and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a red flag right there.
Disconnection. And disconnection is huge in
because they're trying to isolate you. That's why, so that you only get a steady stream of bullshit all the time. That you don't have any outside perspectives.
I think disconnection is one of Scientology's huge, or one of their main problems. If they were to get rid of disconnection, they'd probably be better off. But Scientology can't make any changes. That's the problem. LRH gave commandments and told them to do certain things. They don't have the authority to change it. Like all the bases talk to each other through telex. Because that's what LRH told them to use. Telex. Telex is fucking 60 years old. Isn't it? 60? Or 50
Might
years.
be older.
Might be older.
Is it? I don't
That's
even.
ancient technology.
How do they even get that shit anymore? Do they have to like make their own?
Telex. If you guys don't know what a telex is, it's like a printer that you put a telephone, an old dial-up telephone.
Well, it's like a fax machine.
Like a fax machine. And they can send a fucking message to you, and it would come through the fucking phone, and it would print it out on the other end.
It's like a proto-fax machine.
Like a proto-fax machine.
Parzival, cheers from Germany. Well, hey, what's up? I'm so drunk tonight, he says.
Go ahead.
I'll shave my head smooth with foam and razor if a woman comes in and wins 3 rounds of rock, paper, scissors against me. Drunken challenge.
Fuck shaving your head. Shave your balls, man.
Well, you could. Why not?
Shave them balls, fucking you just smooth as fuck. You just roll. Take a rag.
I would not advise
fucking drop them fucking
shaving
balls
your
in that
balls
fucking,
while you're drunk.
Shave your balls.
Don't give him any ideas. Thank you very much, Camp Guy. Happy Friday, everybody, he says. Camp Guy said, I'm watching the new Hell's Kitchen with the wife. Be back in a few minutes. Ooh, is the new Hell's Kitchen on? Oh. I just watched the new season of MasterChef. I finished that one. I think I told you. I was like, I'm not going to spoil it in case you haven't watched it, but I was very, very happy with who won. I was rooting for this person. Yeah, Zach says, ever since I learned my ancestors from Norway were Lutherans, I'm kind of interested in joining a Lutheran church. And Gramthars said Lutherans are like Catholic light. All the platitudes minus the Pope.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like if you're going to... Didn't Marilyn Manson or somebody say something like that? That, like, Lutheran, if you have to be, like, a Christian, that's kind of the best one. Because you have, like, all the cool shit about Catholicism without all the shitty stuff.
Didn't Dr. Price say that?
Maybe.
I don't remember
I don't know enough about it to, like...
We've had him on as a guest of the show, Dr. Price, and he's a mythicist. He doesn't believe any of that happened, but he goes to church for the experience, just the singing and the songs and the, you know. But he doesn't like happy clappers, and I think it might have been a Lutheran is what, where it's there is no real sermon. It's a bunch of singing and ritual, and you're in and you do your thing, you have your religious experience, then you leave. And I think it might have been Lutheran.
I mean, the thing about me, it's like, yeah, look, I'm like the biggest atheist that ever atheisted, but still, I really like the whole gestalt of, like, Catholic churches, and it's like, I love stained glass windows, I love all that medieval religious art, I love all that kind of stuff.
And make no mistake, when you go through the scripture, the early scriptures, and you understand them, you understand how the church worked, that's what Christianity was. Christianity was not about what was in the Bible. It was the experience of going. It was kind of like the theater of the day. And it was to have a religious experience. That was what it originally was all about.
Danny Rolling said, shave your eyebrows off and Sharpie them on. That's what I do. Better than plucking them. So, we like to see Gordon yelling at everyone. Yeah, I like to see Gordon yelling at everyone too. Although, honestly... I found, and maybe this is just kind of like me as I've gotten older, because I love Gordon Ramsay and I love like all his shows and stuff, but I tend to prefer the ones where he's, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like when he yells at like people on the show that I don't like or that I think need yelling at, but I think he's better when he's actually like nice to people. You know what I mean? Because he seems like a nice person. He just kind of got this reputation of being like really shouty and everything like that, because he is, but I mean, when he's really, like, nice to people and really mentoring people and stuff like that, he's actually seems like a really nice dude, you know what I mean? And he seems like a very genuine dude. And to be honest, Gordon Ramsay, I don't know, like, hey, Gordon Ramsay, like, if you're out there, if you're listening, call me, because when the fuck does a dude sleep? When does he sleep? He has a million shows all the time. Like, I was looking at, he has shows that I didn't even know that he made. I'm like, when the fuck do you have time to do all of this shit and run all the restaurants that he runs, and he writes cookbooks, and it's like, yeah, I know he's like zillionaire and he has like a staff and shit like that, but goddamn, like when the fuck? Well, I mean, on the TV shows, he has to be there to be on the show. Yeah. And that's not, you know what I mean? And that's like a long commitment, because I think like MasterChef and all that kind of stuff, that's like over that's a month, or it's a long time where they shoot that. It actually might be longer than that. So it's like, I don't understand like where he must have like that fucking time turner thing that Hermione had in the Harry Potter books.
Do you want to try some of that orange whiskey next?
Oh, that's right, I forgot. Yeah, we should.
Tell them about that.
Yeah, we got, is it, wait, it's not Jack Daniels. It's Jim Beam.
Jim Beam orange.
Yeah, like we had got the Jim Beam apple before, which I really like. And then, but he went to the liquor store the other day and said, oh, they had the orange, and I saw that in the liquor store the other day, and I was like, oh, that'd probably be pretty good. So we're gonna try that out later on. But I haven't finished my peach vodka yet though.
Well, I'll just do mine first.
Okay.
And then you can get some. I guess we'll have it on the rocks.
I mean, I guess you could mix it with.
Seriously, I don't have any Coca-Cola.
That's what you're supposed to mix it with? Oh yeah, I guess whiskey and Coke. What do we have? We have root beer.
That'd be terrible.
That would be yucky.
Yeah. And I have diet cherry Coke, but that would be terrible.
That would also be terrible.
No, the way to go is just on the rocks.
We'll see how it goes. But like I said,
I want to know what it tastes like on its own.
And then you know what you could mix it with later.
Because the Jim Beam apple was great on the rocks.
That was very good just on its own.
Yeah. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, we got Europeans, got Parsifal on there. Jim Beam is like traditionally kind of like very standard kind of Tennessee whiskey, or it might be Kentucky whiskey. It's Southern whiskey. It's rye.
Yeah.
It's really, it wasn't that good.
It's not bad. It's not great.
It's not bad. It's not great. Now they're starting to flavor it. They're kind of elevating it. You can get real good Jim Beam, you know, that's been aged in barrels, but you got to pay a lot more for it.
Well, they have them at different price points.
They have them at different price
points, which is
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Right. But this one is kind of like they're just a $20 bottle, Jim Beam Orange. And it's something you mix, or you can just drink it on the rocks, like a sipping whiskey. We're going to see what it tastes like. The green apple was good.
Yeah, I liked that a lot. I liked that a lot. Yeah, Zach said Lutherans are allowing gay clergy now, which is interesting. If I could, I'd join a black church because those look fun as fun. You can. Nobody's stopping you. Sly says, love your red hair, Jenny. Thank you very much. Let's see. Zach also says, by the way, I have an upcoming horror movie you'll like, Bones and All. Same director as the Suspiria remake. Imagine Bonnie and Clyde in the 80s and they're cannibals. See, that sounds like something that I might need to investigate because that sounds pretty fucking awesome. That sounds pretty fucking awesome. Oscar says Chef Emerald is a far superior chef to Gordon Ramsay. I mean, that's neither here nor there. I've been to neither one of their restaurants, so I don't even know what their cooking is like. But personality-wise, I don't know. Emerald Lagasse gets on my fucking nerves. I don't know why that is. He doesn't get on my nerves as much as Guy Fieri. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Gordon Ramsay, he just seems like I could hang with Gordon Ramsay.
That's it,
but
right there.
Emerald Lagasse, I don't think I could hang.
That's what we're going to go ahead and do.
We're gonna go ahead and do that.
Oh, smell.
Very orangey.
Almost smells like Drambuie.
It does. Glenn Little said, I shaved my balls so many times it looks like a hippie's tobacco pouch now. Is that too much information? There's no such thing on this show. No such thing. Let's see. How is it, Tom? How is it? Yes, no? What does that face portend? He's thinking about it. He's really contemplating this, you guys.
Well, it has some spice to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, what is this, clove? It's probably clove, yeah?
Cinnamon.
Okay. That makes sense.
It also has, you try it.
All right.
I think it's good.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. It's very strong, so I'm not really sure how much, but I like it because it's like, it has a little bit of a whiskey flavor to it, but it's very, very orangey.
Yeah. Orange and some heat. It's got a little bit of heat.
A little bit.
I think it's cinnamon heat.
But not so much that it's going to give me heartburn. I'm not having that reaction. So.
And vanilla?
Maybe. Thank you, Jeffy Art. Today, I purchased 6 brands of pumpkin beer at Total Wine, including
okay.
Dogfish Head and Harpoon's Dunkin' Donuts Pumpkin. I will gladly give you my thoughts over the next few weeks. Yes, please do, because I'm into the pumpkin spice shit, man. Seriously.
Actually, the best one was that pumpkin spice malt beverage.
Yeah,
that was actually the best one.
It was a latte, right?
It's a latte.
Well, no, like I got one at Publix. Like we got a couple at the liquor store, and then I was at Publix and I got one that was essentially like a pumpkin spice latte, but with booze in it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even beer. It was like a malt beverage, and that shit was good because it actually tasted like a pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah.
Except boozy.
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't even trying to be a beer.
Yeah.
It was just pumpkin spice latte. Had to be alcoholic. Could have been vodka in it for all you knew. Didn't matter.
Well, it was billed as a hard coffee.
Yeah, it didn't have much of an alcohol flavor, but you could probably slam those and get fucking trashed like I got slammed off them damn mojitos.
I told you. I haven't seen you that drunk in a long time. Jeffy Art said, hurry and get Dogfish Head. A lot of places are almost out. Yeah, I kind of figure that when pumpkin spice season comes on, everybody is like, woo, it's fall. And they kind of do what I do. And it's like, I want all the pumpkin spice, all the things. I want all that. Oscar says, Jenny, how about reviewing the 4 VHS anthology movies leading up to VHS 99 later this month on Shudder? Yeah, that's actually a good idea. I might actually get into doing that. What I'm going to do tomorrow, the video that I'm putting up tomorrow, it's written, but I haven't, I got to record it and edit it, tomorrow morning, is somebody told me, remember how I did the show about Masters of Horror? From 2000, when was that? 2007, 2008, the McGarris show? DJ Maniac told me, there was actually a 3rd season of that, a 3rd unofficial season, except it was called something else, and it was on NBC. And so I was like, holy shit, I totally forgot about that. And that whole series is on YouTube and Vudu and stuff like that now, so I did a whole review of that. So it's kind of like Masters of Horror, but on network TV. It was not bad, actually. I think I'd only seen one episode of it because I was watching one of them and I was like, oh, I kind of remember this, but the rest of them I didn't remember. So I must have only seen it.
Okay, so...
Gramthar said, just a heads up, after 3 years of retirement, Gramthar has accepted a full-time job offer and will have to give up watching YouTube and Reddit all the time, so time here will be limited. Aw, okay. We will miss you, but hopefully you can drop by and talk to us sometimes.
Okay, Jim Beam Orange. It's not bad. It's good. I like it. I kind of prefer the apple.
I like the apple better too, but that's actually good. I like that it's very. I mean, the orange is very, very strong, and I like that about it.
They have 2 other flavors. One of them's honey, and the other one is some kind of. I think it's called fire or cinnamon or something. The cinnamon is kind of like it's kind of like Fireball, but not quite as sweet. And I'd like to try the honey.
I've had the Jack Daniel's honey, and that's very good.
Well, I think it's Jim Beam honey, though.
There is a Jim Beam honey one.
Okay, yeah, because I saw.
But I've had the Jack Daniel's honey.
Yeah, it was good.
And that's actually very good. Yeah. So I imagine the Jim Beam is probably good, too. Gramthar says, Total Wine rocks. It's the size of a Kohl's, but filled with booze. Well, the ABC liquor we have by our house is kind of like that, too. It's pretty big. Zach said, Bones and All is what we were talking, the movie we were talking about before. The trailer had a Leonard Cohen song in it. Which song? Because I love Leonard Cohen. He said, that sent me down a rabbit hole of his music. I now have 3 of his songs stuck in my head. So annoying, but so good. Yeah, I mean, I love Leonard Cohen. So I don't know what song was in the trailer, but let me know.
Okay, people, I shaved off the beard side. It's shaved. It's just this now. Just the fucking evil Spock. Just evil Spock beard. That's how I'm gonna go. It's easier. Doing this, when I kept looking at it in the mirror, straight in, because I had it cut kind of thin, there wasn't a lot of coverage there. So I was like, you know what? Fuck all this fucking side shit. It doesn't make a big difference. I still got good jaw action.
Good jaw action.
Won't you think? I think I still got good jaw action, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I said, I didn't, it hadn't grown out to an extent that you could really see it all that well.
It was just fun, but it wasn't going to get much better.
Okay.
It wasn't going to get much better.
Zach says, you want it darker from his last album when his voice was at its graveliest. And it was pretty gravelly to start with. Gramthar said, some call that beard a man pussy.
Fucking. That's fucking funny.
I can see that. I mean, kind of.
Bitch ass motherfucker.
Well, he didn't make it up. Yeah, that's a real thing. He's just telling you. He's just imparting information.
When you just have the fucking Ming the Merciless out fucking version, it's a lot easier. You know what I mean? Because it's smaller. You can get the angles correct. You know. It's a smaller facial hair apparatus.
Facial hair apparatus.
Yeah.
Hair is complicated. I really, really wish, like I've told you before, I really wish.
See, Linwood's in there, slides in there, says Tom's evil Spock. Yeah, it's like evil Spock. Evil Spock, bro.
Yeah, so it's going to be like, we're not going to be able to tell you apart from like the evil Spock.
Well, no, he says, that's me, Tom, evil Spock. Yeah, that's you.
He says evil spook.
Evil spook? He said, he's an evil spook. See, I can't see it. I have my glasses on.
Well, maybe you should get your glasses.
I don't know. I don't believe you're evil spook, man. Fucking stop calling yourself that. You're gonna be all right.
Danny Rolling says, out of all 8 of the potential Zodiac killers named, who do you think is possibly the killer out of them? I don't even know who the 8 are.
I don't
remember them either.
They evidently had something new with some DNA came out.
Yeah, I heard that.
It sounds pretty plausible.
Maybe we should do a Zodiac revisit.
We can do it. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Zodiac
write that
revisit.
down because
We'll do an update on Zodiac.
yeah.
Oh, Zodiac, he's a classic. And I would say, well, they'll never catch that guy. But
Well, he's probably dead now.
I never thought they'd catch fucking original Night Stalker.
Yeah, Golden State Killer.
Golden State Killer.
Same dude.
And if y'all haven't been listening to the program long, we did a thing on Golden State Killer, also known as the original Night Stalker. I profiled that motherfucker
Before they caught him.
And I got it right. I profiled the shit because I was trying to put myself in his shoes. What kind of dude's doing this? I knew he was a cop. And it turns out he was a cop. He was an active duty cop and he was doing that. At least part of it.
Special.
He was a fucking... That was a perfect storm there. Bad motherfucker and then the skills to get it done. And then the hatred. He's a freak.
Yeah.
That
The
dude.
thing about, like, when they caught him, like, you could tell just by looking at him that he was just, like, a fucking horrible old man.
Rage monster.
Yeah.
He was mad that he was a little dick motherfucker. That's what I believe. The truth is always in the gutter. It's something real simple and... Because the surviving women would... One of the main... descriptions is that he was a little dick. He was a little dick dude.
Which
he's trying to overcompensate and he's fucking
Right.
hating on these women and shit.
well, I kind of feel like that's a lot of that's a lot of the serial killer kind of thing. Unless they're completely just psychotic and crazy and just have like bizarre ass motives.
Yeah.
Then they have some kind of deep-seated issue that they're like overcompensating for.
Yeah.
And he's definitely one of those that was like overcompensating for lack of perceived masculinity.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that if you have like a micro dick,
There's a lot of dudes that are like that.
Well, if you have a micro dick, right? Yeah, one, it's like there's a lot of dudes like that, and they don't become serial killers because you should there's other things you can do. Like you don't have to become a serial killer, obviously. But I don't know. I kind of feel like if you have a micro dick, pro tip, don't go raping people because that's the first thing they're going to report.
Yeah.
He has a tiny ass penis.
Yeah, so therefore that's why he's doing it. Yeah. So which makes you look even worse.
Right. Are they not thinking that far ahead? I guess
not.
I guess not.
And if that's what you're working with, you better learn how to fucking offer some other shit to a woman. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
there's ways to get around shit. Like, there's ways to get around pretty much everything. I mean, unless you're just a shit human being.
That was a problem within him.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I'm sure, like, had he been a cool motherfucker...
It wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
Like, the women that were, like, pissed off about it probably weren't worth hanging out with anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if he could do other shit...
Dudes are getting bent out of shape over size queens. They got some women out there that's all they're going to go for. But they tend to be younger women who outgrow that phase. Really what matters is can a motherfucker put fucking meat on the table? Can he hold the house together? Can you trust him? Can he keep his dick in his pants? Is he gonna fucking, you know what I mean?
Well, is
he fun to be around?
Is he reliable? Is he fun to be around?
Yeah.
Is he is he gonna listen to you when you talk? Is he gonna there's a lot of other things that are important.
Yeah.
And particularly if you're in a relationship with somebody for a really long time, it's like, dick size and shit like that, it gets less and less important like as time goes on. Yeah. Like you said, that's more of like a young person's kind of thing.
Yeah. And old fucking what's his name? That was a problem he was having with himself. I'm guarantee you.
Yeah.
That was a problem he was having with himself. He wasn't having problems with women because of that. That was something he couldn't accept with himself.
The thing about it too is that sometimes I'm thinking about I think we talked about this when we did the show about like incels, about like Elliot Roger and shit like that.
Yeah.
A lot of times dudes like that because they're so mired in self-hatred, they perceive it as everybody else picking on them, when a lot of times people aren't even like aware of them, or not even thinking about them or something like that. The thing about like people like Elliot Roger and stuff like that, they're just kind of like, they kind of think, oh, well, I have a nice car and I'm, you know, okay looking and stuff like that, so people should just like be attracted to me like magically. And I'm like, that's not how that works though. And like, most people just don't even know you're alive, because most people don't know other people are alive generally, you know what I mean, unless you draw attention to yourself in some way.
That was like that Korean kid that shot up the damn university, Kim Chung Sol or some shit like that. He dressed up in the whole outfit and gunned everybody down. He made a video and it's just totally incoherent. He's saying, basically, you've mocked me, you've ridiculed me, you defeated me, this and that. I'm coming back for the. Nobody even knew who that dude was.
Well, that's the same thing. That's what I'm saying. Like Elliot Roger, it was the whole thing. Like, I'm going to make you all pay for what you done. I'm like, nobody did anything to you.
Yeah, nobody did anything to him, and nobody knew who he was.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I think a lot of the problem is that these dudes are like so delusional that they think the whole entire world revolves around. So people are just like living their regular lives without even knowing you exist, and somehow you're doing it at them, even though you don't even know who that is. Like, I could just be walking down the fucking street one day, just going down to get a fucking coffee at Starbucks or whatever, and this motherfucker is like sitting there going, that bitch didn't even look at me, or you know, or something like that. And I'm like, I didn't even fucking notice you, just like I didn't notice these zillion other people that I just fucking walked by, because I'm just going to get a fucking coffee. You know what I mean? But it's like, in his mind, it was like this big huge deal, and like everybody needed to like feel his wrath or whatever, because nobody was paying enough attention to him. And I'm just I don't understand that at all. I don't understand that at all. It's like, most of the time, 99.99% of the time, people just are not noticing you because they got their own shit going on. That's just how life is. You know what I mean? Nobody, you're not owed anybody's attention like that. Yeah. Especially people who don't even know who the fuck you are. You're just a random ass motherfucker. I don't know you. You know what I mean? Fuck. Gramthars said, just like some girls like big dongs, some dudes like chicks with oversized labias.
That's not what we're talking about, bro. We're talking about titties and ass. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that.
But no,
anything that's kind of like, anything that's kind of like physical like that. Yeah. It's like, people have preferences and stuff, but it's just kind of about the whole person. Like we've talked about that before, because it's like a lot of times it's like, even if you have like a type, oh, I like, you know, guys that look like this, or I like girls that look like this. But then if you meet somebody that doesn't look exactly like that, but is kind of like super cool in other ways, and you kind of relate to them in other ways, then, you know, then it doesn't really matter as much.
The way I look at it, you know, like...
beef curtains.
Yeah, beef curtains.
That's one of my favorite... Yeah. Well, actually, my favorite word for vagina is... or phrase for vagina is squish mitten. But... I don't remember where I first heard that, but I was like, oh, that's my favorite. Yeah. But beef curtains is pretty good, too.
I consider myself to be a pretty typical dude. All right? And you guys in the comment section, you guys can fucking... Because Sly's talking about the measure of a man. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Fucking, it's more about how dependable you are. That's really what matters to women over time. Especially outside a certain age group. But, oh shit, I forgot exactly what I was going to say. Shit, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to go back to this drinking.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, really, I forgot what I was going to say. Well, I remember what it was. I consider myself to be a pretty typical guy. Guys, in general, like novelty. Well, that covers a lot of distance. You see some chick, she's fucking very well endowed. Maybe she's fucking big on the top. She's big on the bottom. She's big on the top and she's big on the bottom. Or she's real little on top, little on the bottom. She's skinny. There's a lot of different ways to kind of like get a guy's attention. Guys are not, the average guy's not real picky. As long as a woman has a certain amount of impact to her visual fucking stimuli, you know. It isn't one. In other words, I'm like a lot of other guys who I don't really have one type. There are many types. So really, like the average guy is not real fucking difficult to please, really. You know.
I kind of feel like women aren't either.
Yeah. No.
I mean, because
Not really.
it kind of depends on the person.
Yeah, it kind of depends on person. Like there are some girls fucking like Jenny knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's some girls that they're skinny, all right. There's not much, but they're still cute.
Yeah.
There are other girls that are kind of a little heavy, but they carry it real well. They're cute too. It's just you're not really. It's like Baskin Robbins. There's 31 flavors. Okay.
That's actually a good analogy.
Yeah, there's 31.
It's like they're all pretty good.
They're all pretty good, as long as there's some style there.
I mean, you have a few favorites, but all of them, I mean, you're not going to say no to, like, most of them.
Well, it depends on the situation. They got mud ducks out there, too. Like, nope, no thanks. You know what I mean? You didn't have any teeth. Nope, you don't shower. You know, there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there
are
a lot
of shit, you know. Fucking, some girls are homeless bag ladies for a certain reason, and dudes aren't going for that. So, you know, you have to look at the other extremes, too, you know. But there's a lot more ways to be attractive than just one way. There's a whole bunch of ways to be attractive. They got girls that are just fat, but they're cute. They look good. They're making money on Instagram. Okay. Because they carry the weight right. You know?
Well, and the thing is that to a degree, like, no matter what you look like, there's always going to be somebody out there that's going to be into that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then you go into the from the female point of view. There are some women that, you know, they fantasize about a dude that has a Ferrari and a whole bunch of money. They got that. They got some women that fucking fantasize about, they're just size queens. They just want fucking big old dick. The thing is, there's not that many of them. And that might just be a fantasy. When they meet the dude like that, they might not really hook up with that dude because, oh yeah, that's all he's got is that big old dick.
That's what I'm saying. Because, that's kind of the problem, too, is that a lot of times, and I don't have a huge amount of experience in this area.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, because, you know, I've only had like a handful of boyfriends, husbands.
She hasn't been with too many
in my entire life. I mean, it's some, but not that many. But the thing about it is that sometimes, and I'm going to by experience of, like, you know, female friends of mine. Sometimes guys that have, like, really, really big dicks, one, it's just kind of like, sometimes you don't want to, and this made me laugh because I think this is a quote from The Witches of Eastwick, where one of, I think it was Susan Sarandon, and she said that her husband was huge, and she's like, there's just some nights I just couldn't face it. So it's, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, sometimes you're just like, really, I just can't deal with it right now. So I get that. But also I kind of feel like dudes that have super big dicks, they're just kind of like, hey, I have a big dick.
Yeah, that's all they're gonna do.
And then that's it. It's like, so I can be a jerk the rest of the time. It's like, hey, big dick. You know what I mean? Like, that's their one claim to fame.
Gotta be the full package.
Yeah, so it's like, if you have a big dick, but you are also an a-hole.
And you don't know how to dress.
And you don't know how to dress, and you don't know how to act, and shit like that, then that big dick is not going to do you any good.
And you don't have a job. You can't help pay bills. You know, it's a problem. It's a problem. You gotta try to fill all the fucking... You gotta try to fulfill all the fucking prerequisites. It's gotta be reasonable. You know? Yeah. You gotta be reasonable. You gotta be practical. If you're not practical, you ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
No. A woman older than fucking 22 is gonna want a practical motherfucker because you gotta help pay bills. You know?
Well, you need somebody you can rely on.
Yeah, right.
You don't need somebody that's gonna, like, clean out your bank account and then go bang hookers and buy coke and shit like that and be like, where the fuck did this motherfucker? He stole my car. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Because some dudes will do that.
Yeah, and you'll be gone in a fucking heartbeat, big dick and all.
Yeah.
You want some of that orange, or you rather have some more of the...
I guess I'll have some more of the peach.
Peach, okay.
I mean, because I kind of want another mixed drink, because I don't want to get too fucked up. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're saying that. But I don't know. It's just, like I said, you know, we've said this on the show many times. Everybody, well, with some exceptions, I'm sure, but everybody has something to offer. You know what I mean? And if you have something good to offer, then everything else can be worked with. But you can't just sit back like, oh, I have a big dick, or, oh, you know, I'm beautiful, like if you're a woman or something like that. And that's like all you got. You got to have some other shit to like back that up because, you know, big dick, eventually you might get erectile dysfunction. If you're young and beautiful, eventually that's not going to stick around either because you're going to get old like everybody does. And so you really have to have like something else to back that up. you know, other than just kind of like physical stuff. Otherwise,
Okay, look,
no one's gonna want to hang with
for
you.
you because we're gonna have to get ready and fucking.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's okay.
And
I mean, these are super sweet anyway.
Yeah.
So.
And I might have to come up with something to eat before we leave. I don't know.
Yeah, we probably should.
If not, we'll stop by Circle K and get a damn microwave sandwich. Because you know we're gonna try to hit those on the way back.
Isn't it funny that like every time we go
I can
out,
predict this shit.
I'm always just kind of like, let's stop at Circle K. I want to. They don't
get a
have.
burrito. Get a cricket burrito. Cricket meat burrito.
See, I don't like the burritos from there. I don't want. I mean, they have the cold sandwiches there. They have like a really decent. It's chicken salad with cranberries in it.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty decent. And like the ones I got ones there at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and the bread is like super fresh.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of.
Circle K's got good sandwiches.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, you can't really slack off anymore. It's not like the old days, like the 70s and 80s, where you'd stop at a convenience store and like the fucking sandwiches had been there for like 4 weeks and like had mold on the outside and shit like that. Gramthars said, question, have you ever had a random hookup and then soon regretted it? You know, they were missing teeth or stank or were low IQ or were cross-eyed.
No.
Or had,
Not me.
No.
I see all that shit.
I mean,
done.
I've regretted a couple things, but not much. Not
Well, here's
much.
the thing, man. You can regret a hottie. She could be hot, but then you're like, man, I should have never fucked that. Man, you know, I should never really fucked around with that. Because there's baggage.
Because that could go wrong
baggage,
too.
yeah.
Sure. But I've never been in a situation where I got, and I've picked up like dudes at bars before, but a couple of times, but I never got in a situation where it's like,
me and
oh my
Jen
god,
were going out to each other. We were just fucking hanging out and shit. Fucking, she'd pick up dudes, I'd pick up other chicks. Fucking, we were. A lot of you guys don't understand how wild it was. There's one of them that I regretted messing with because she was fucking crazy. Susan.
yeah.
Yeah, and she was cute. Susan's real cute.
Well, she's still around.
She's still around.
I saw her.
She's crazy.
A couple weeks ago.
She's crazy.
I haven't talked to her in a while though, but I saw her. A couple
She's not
weeks
as bad as she was.
Yeah, I think she's kind of settled down.
Yeah,
Some.
but when she was younger back in those days, that was a long time ago. That was before me and you.
Yeah. I mean, she was around and then like she wasn't around for a long time, but she's just recently started coming back out again. She looks almost exactly the same
Yeah, she does.
as back in the old days. She looks like she hasn't aged a day.
No, I hadn't aged a day.
We goths, man. We don't age.
Yeah.
I mean, we do, but just more slowly than regular.
She's not as crazy as
than
she
regular
was.
folk.
She
well,
went
like
through,
I said,
she went through some bad shit.
She did, and
Yeah.
it's like I kind of felt bad for her, to be honest with you. Murder Hornet said I'm hung like a mosquito. Yeah. And honestly, to be honest, I'm not advocating like just going out and picking up people in bars, because a lot of times that can go horribly wrong. But I mean, I did it a few times and it turned out okay. I didn't get murdered or, you know, and most of the guys were fine. It was fine.
Except that one.
Well, except that one.
Yeah. When you chased his ass off, I was there. Remember, we were sitting out there and fucking, I saw her chase the dude off. She goes, that motherfucker there, man, just trying to go anal. Fucking.
Yeah.
I remember when that shit was going on. Some of you guys are fucking
Which is
funny.
fine, but like ask first.
That
Okay?
See, Jen,
Don't just. Wow, we're
It's
getting
funny.
really TMI on this shit, aren't we?
See, y'all fucking some of this crazy shit. You know what I mean? Fucking one time, over the years, me and Jenny talking shit, and I'm talking shit. Sometimes you have somebody in the audience go, Jenny, don't you get jealous? You don't know the fucking half of the shit that me and Jen been through. All right, you don't know the fucking half of the shit.
I used to, I think, but like maybe a little bit, but it
The
doesn't.
reason
it
why
doesn't bother
me and Jen been together probably over 10 years, probably 11, 12 years now, huh?
We
As
got
friends.
together in
friends.
we first met in 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
We didn't start going out until like mid 2011.
Yeah.
I think so. It's been 11 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've
just
known each other
just
11.
past 11 years.
Yeah. Me and Jenny never would have made it if we weren't friends. And that's really a key thing. You know?
Yeah.
People go out with each other, they're not even fucking friends. And that shit blows up within fucking 6 months. You know? But me and Jenny were friends before we started going out.
Yeah.
So that makes a big difference.
It just kind of happened like very organically because, like I said, we were just like hanging out because we liked each other.
Yeah.
But we were dating other people.
Yeah.
Like off and on.
She was married when I first met her.
Yeah, that's right. And then like I got divorced, and then we kind of hung out, and then we kind of hooked up, and then...
Well, we were hanging out, and we hooked up a little bit, but then that kind of broke off, and then we were fucking did business together for a while.
And then you were kind of saw somebody else, and I was like seeing like another guy and another couple guys or something like that. And then we just kind of ended up together.
It's just by a process of evolution.
And everybody, and all of our, it's funny because like all of our friends, because sometimes we would just go out to the bar like together, like one of us would drive the other person, and so I'd sleep over at his house. It's like he'd sleep over at my apartment, shit like that. And people are like, "Would you guys just go out already? Like, what the fuck are you even doing?"
It was funny.
Like everybody was just like waiting. They're like, "Come on now, anytime." You know what I mean? It was just kind of like that. It was just like super funny. But I don't know. But yeah, it was just kind of like that guy was okay though.
Okay.
That he was okay. I don't mean to like cast
That's just how I remembered it.
He was an okay dude, but yeah, like in hindsight, like well at the time that it happened, I was just kind of like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what are you even doing? Like, and I mean, to his credit, like when I said, what are you doing? Like, hey, knock that off. And then he did stop. So like he didn't keep going. But I was just kind of like I said, I'm not averse to it. I'm just saying it's like, hey, ask me. You can't just fucking
jumping up in the booty like that.
That's what it's like. Jesus Christ, come on now. I mean, have a little bit of like etiquette. You know, it's like, dude, I don't even know you.
You guys are fucking funny.
I just like I was at. I kind of feel like, was it Halloween? I kind of feel like it was a Halloween party because I think he had like a costume on. Well, it wasn't like a costume, but it was like kind of a dress because I liked his hat.
Oh wait, no, we're talking about different dudes. I remember the dude you're talking about.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the little fucking kind of like almost kind of a redneck looking dude that fucking was like a little short dude.
Oh no. Oh that was a different guy.
That was a different guy. Okay, yeah, I'm mixing it up. Because I saw you chase his ass off.
That was a different guy.
Yeah, it was a different guy. Okay.
But that was a different guy.
I was out front and I saw Jenny chase his ass off, and I says, "Yeah, that's a loser." Okay, I sit there drinking. I know a loser when I see one.
Gramthars said, "Do goths age better because they avoid harmful sun rays, or for other reasons?" Well, that's probably a big reason.
No,
that's probably a reason.
I don't think so. Because look,
you don't think
the goth people we know are fucking. They had not aged that well.
Yeah, it's not across the board.
It's not across the board.
Because we do know some people that have been in the goth scene a long time that do look older.
There are people that are younger than us that look 20 years older. Overweight.
It depends on how much do they drink, drugs.
Yes, drinking, drugs.
Lifestyle.
Fucked up lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like a lot. I mean, I'm sure staying out of the sun does help. Because you don't get like all the fucking sunburn and wrinkles and everything like that, but you know what I mean. But a lot of it has to do with life.
Though.
You do. I don't.
It's genetics.
I think that's
genetics
also,
and fucking
I think
ego.
that's also a factor.
Ego has a lot to do with it.
Because, like I said, even if and I've said this before, but my mom, who is nearly 70, she's 68. She still looks quite young, and she actually went out in the sun a lot because she was real into like going to the beach and stuff. I wasn't. I was like, even when she would take me to the beach when I was a kid, I'm like, I'm gonna go sit under the pier. Yeah. So I like in the shadow because I didn't want to get like a tan or anything.
A lot of goth people are egotistical and vain. A lot of them. So they fight harder. All right, they'll diet. They'll do performance-enhancing drugs. They'll fucking get surgery or whatever it takes, and wear the right clothes and stay.
Yeah, they want to maintain a particular look as long as possible.
That's a lot of it.
It's like wearing some corsets and wigs and.
You're right.
Shit like that.
Trying to not overeat and eventually working out because you can't stay skinny and then get old. You're gonna get pot-bellied, especially if you're a man. Sometimes women's figures, as they age, is a little bit more forgiving, but it depends on the build. But eventually, when you hit 50, you're just gonna have to you're gonna have to use technology and hard work. It just goes with it, you know. That's why actors and actresses, fucking celebrities. That's why a lot of them look real good. You think that's natural? That's not natural. They're taking stuff, and I can get it.
Well, they're
get
taking
anything we
stuff.
want.
They're getting surgery. They
Yeah.
have nutritionists. They
money.
have
They're
money
fucking
and
buying fucking anabolic steroids.
They
of
have
different
people
types.
that
They
can
have
like
trainers.
trainers and stuff like that.
Right. And
Stylists.
right. And if you're in the goth scene, you're gonna know all the drug dealers. You can get anything you want. If you're in a decent place, I can get anything.
Danny Rowling said smoking and drinking and kids will age you real quick.
Yeah.
That might have been a thing too.
That's
that,
part of
that
it
I
too.
never had any kids.
A lot of goths don't have kids, or if they do have kids, they don't worry about them.
I mean, they do, but
They want, yeah.
but they still have their own lives. They don't like, they compartmentalize.
One of the best looking goth girls that we know is a friend of Jenny's. Her name is Jen too. She's a vocalist from 13th Angel. Her name is Jen Draven. You guys can Google her. She's got 2 daughters that are gorgeous.
That are grown.
They're grown daughters that are gorgeous.
Yeah, her daughters are what, 18 and 20?
18 and 20 something.
Something, 22, 21?
Yeah.
You would never fucking know
You would
that.
never know. They all look like their sisters.
They all look like they're the same
They
age.
all look like their sisters, and they're not.
They all look the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kills me.
Yeah.
It kills me. But yeah. Because I've known Jen for probably like 7-8 years at this point, and when she told me that she had 2 grown daughters, I mean, well, when we first met her, like her younger daughter was 12 or 13.
Yeah,
But
she's a baby.
grown
She's
now.
grown now.
She's 18, 19
Yeah.
nowadays. She's going out to the club now.
Yeah.
Her and her boyfriend go to the club with mom and dad, Jen and Dimitri.
Yeah.
Goes out with them.
That's Jen. She's got 2 grown daughters that
And
are...
that's exactly what she looks
And
like.
she looks
That's
exactly
not
like
a
that.
special photo or anything.
And her
That's
daughters
exactly
look
what
to
she
be the
looks like.
same age as her. Let's see if I can find it. That's a very natural shot of her. No makeup or anything. That's how she looks.
I mean, it's very, very whited out.
I'm going to try to get it.
There you
you
go.
go.
Yeah, that's what she looks. And that's,
Yeah.
like I said, that's exactly what
She looks like that just walking around.
Yeah, that's exactly what she looks like. She's a little bit younger than me, but not much younger.
See if I can find pictures of her and her daughters.
She's in her 40s, yeah?
Pushing 50, I think.
She might be, because I think
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago, and she said that she was 38, and that was like a while back.
A long time ago.
So she's like
Okay.
in her mid 40s, I think.
There's one daughter.
Danny Rowling said, "Is that a wig or her hair?" No, that's
Her hair.
That's her hair.
Yeah. That's her older daughter. And the younger daughter is just as cute.
Yeah, she doesn't wear wigs. She just has like very, very straight. It's usually black, but she does like red and blue sometimes, like just streaks.
So it's funny, that's like somebody's mom. You know?
It's just funny to think about.
Yeah, it is.
But like I said, I
That's
think
our lives. We've known
I
these
think
people
the thing
forever.
that's kind of refreshing about the goth scene is that
Okay, look.
even when they
Go.
oh, that's all 3 of them.
That's all 3 of them.
There you go. That's
Okay,
a good picture. That's recent.
Yeah, that's her and her daughters.
Yeah.
And they show up to the club and it looks like a pack of sisters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a recent pic because her daughter looks just like that because I just saw her a couple weeks ago. She came out. But that's the thing. I kind of feel like a lot of them do have kids, but they don't. Because sometimes I feel like when people have kids, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't do this. Like if this is kind of what you want to do, then then do it. I'm not shitting on you, but I'm just saying that sometimes when people have kids, that's like their whole life is like upended. And it's like now my whole entire life is going to be revolve around this kid, which is cool to an extent, but it's like you're still a person and you still have to have your own life and your own happiness and stuff like that. So I kind of feel like maybe some people in the goth scene are kind of better at like compartmentalizing that. It's like they'll have kids and it's fine, but it's like, once a month I'm gonna leave the kid with a babysitter and put on all my goth shit and go out and dance and have a good time and drink and stuff like that, and it's fine. It's it makes them happier. So I don't know, I kind of feel like people maybe better balance with that, maybe like between family and lifestyle. I don't know.
Let me go to the restroom real quick. How much time do we have
Before what?
before we have to start getting ready?
It's only 7:30.
Okay.
Talking about the drug war. Hey, Rebecca, what's up? Good to see you. talking about Mexico, which I've never been, so I can't really. Are Tom and Jenny gonna watch the new Hocus Pocus too? I thought about it. Okay, so in case you want to, like, I went with my sister to Disney last Sunday. She bought me a ticket for the Disney Halloween party, whatever, last Sunday, and we went for my birthday. And we were talking about Hocus Pocus because one of the things that they did for the Halloween, they did this big show like in front of the castle, the Cinderella castle that had the Sanderson sisters. They were kind of like hosting it, and then it was all these villains and songs and stuff. And she had already seen it. My sister had already seen it. And I was kind of like, should I watch it? Is it worth it? Because me and my sister, we're 7 years apart. She's 7 years younger than me. But we used to joke with one another that we like shared a brain because we're like into a lot of the same shit, and we'll like finish each other's sentences and stuff. But I was like, should I like bother watching it? She's like, it's fan service. She's like, there's nothing wrong with that, but she's like, I don't know. She's like, there was some funny shit in it, but it just seemed like, oh, of course, like that was kind of the movie. I'll probably watch it, but I don't know. Tom probably won't watch. I don't even think Tom saw the first Hocus Pocus. And I get, like, I love Hocus Pocus, but I have to be in the right mood to watch it because it is a little frenetic. And it is a little kind of like geared toward a younger audience, which is fine, but I have to really, really be like vibing, like to watch it like that, because it's a little bit over caffeinated for me. Let's put it like that. It's a little bit over the top, but it's good otherwise. But yeah, she said like the second one was okay, but it was just kind of like more of the same, and it was just like obviously, cashing in on everything. So Danny Rowling said, I heard Kathy to Jimmy was the only funny thing about the film. My sister like described this one scene to me that I was like, well, that sounds pretty funny, but it's like maybe that's the funniest thing in the movie, and then she ruined it for me. I don't really know, but I probably will get around to, maybe I'll watch it on like around Halloween or something like that, and maybe I'll talk about it on the show just to see. I'm kind of curious to watch it, but
okay, look, we're gonna shut it down around 8, so we have an hour to get ready, and then we'll leave it around 9. And because I got to cook us some food, all right? I'm not going to drink much more.
Okay.
So I'll be fine for the ride there and back.
Okay.
Okay. See what everybody's saying.
Blurdo Dude said, show idea, classic, popular, or lesser-known Halloween specials for TV. Examples being Peanuts and Garfield. Maybe we should do that for a kind of, well, Halloween falls on a Monday this year, which is like a haunting show. But I don't know. Maybe we should do like a Halloween special instead, and we can kind of talk about that. Because I kind of feel like they did do a lot of cool like Halloween episodes of things that we could probably talk about. I mean, the Peanuts one is obviously the best one, but you know what? And I don't think I've ever seen anybody dress up as a costume like this, but I thought about it like a few times. I said, wouldn't it be cool? And this would actually be like a really cheap costume too. It would be cool to dress up like Charlie Brown from the Halloween special. So all you have to do is get yourself like a holy sheet, you know what I mean, like a sheet with a bunch of holes in it, and then get a bag with a bunch of rocks in it. Because he went around in the sheet, he was supposed to be a ghost, but all he had was like a sheet that was full of holes. So everybody was like shitting on him by, instead of giving him candy, they've like put rocks into his bag. So I was just like, I thought that would be like a really funny Halloween costume, but I've never seen anybody do it. I'm sure somebody has, but I was gonna do it, but I never did. Let's see. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Yeah. I like all the Peanut specials. Like the Halloween one is good. The Thanksgiving one is good, and I feel like nobody talks about that one. But the Thanksgiving one is also fun, and obviously the Christmas one is like a fucking classic. Danny Rowling said, When Good Ghouls Go Bad, starring Christopher Lloyd, was a decent Halloween film, sort of like My Bloody Valentine, but with zombies. All right. I kind of like that one that had Tim Curry in it. What was it? The Worst Witch? It's like so cheesy, but I don't know. I kind of loved it. I don't know, man. Like I had such a fun time at Disney, like for the Halloween thing, because it's Disney, so they're gonna go like all out, right? And me and my sister were there, and I was totally dorking out about it. Like we were walking around like, oh my god, I love Halloween so much, and it was just kind of because they just did the whole park out. There was like little glowing jack-o'-lanterns everywhere, and like little Mickey heads that were like shaped like pumpkins and all this other kind of stuff, and all the rides had like crazy like scary lights on them, and they like some of the rides they did like different shit. You know what I mean? And they had people with, they had like these big huge barrels of candy, like a big huge barrels of candy that were almost as tall as a person. And they gave you a bag, and like you just went around and you could go and get as much candy as you wanted, like all night long, as long as you saw like one of those. So shit, man, I saw some of the kids, like, because parents were taking their kids there, and some of those kids had like fucking bags and bags just full of candy. They're just giving you free fucking candy like all night long. I couldn't eat all that candy. We were too busy like going on the rides anyway. Because I told my sister, she goes to Disney every year because she loves Disney. She just lives in Atlanta, so she comes down every year and does like she stays in the resort and goes to all the, like, gets the park hopper thing, and because she'd been to Animal Kingdom that same day that like we went to Disney, because we went in the evening. But I was like, I haven't been to Disney in like a million years, so I was like, I said I want to go on everything, because I can't, like, even shit that I just went on as a kid, because I didn't remember like a lot of the stuff. So I was like, I want to see what it's all like now. So we went on pretty much everything. We actually wanted to go on the Haunted Mansion twice. We went on earlier in the day. That was the longest wait, because it was the Halloween thing. So everybody was like, Haunted Mansion, Haunted Mansion. So we got on that at first, and then we were going to go on it again later, but apparently everyone else had the same idea. So when we got over there, the line was like fucking huge and long. And we were like, fuck that. So we just like, I wanted it because they had like live actors like out front, like later on, but I didn't get to see any of that. But we went on like other shit too. Well, like we went on Splash Mountain, we went on Space Mountain, which, like I said, they turned all the lights off, and that was terrifying. And they did. We even went on like the little kids ride. We went on It's a Small World. We went on Peter Pan. We went on the Winnie the Pooh ride. We went on everything. It was like super fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was super fun. I hadn't been on Peter Pan since I was a kid. I told her when we were in there that I said, isn't this weird? I had a dream about the Peter Pan ride when I was a little kid, and I still remember it. And I said, in my dream, I was on this ride, but I wasn't, because the Peter Pan ride at Disney, you kind of like get in a thing that looks like a ship, but it flies, you know what I mean? And it kind of flies like over this like little city, and like you can see Captain Hook and all that kind of stuff. And I said, so I had this dream that I was on this ride or something approximating this ride, but I wasn't in a ship. I was actually riding, I was standing upright, but I was standing on a little tiny piece, like a little rectangular piece of like fur. Like there was just like a little piece of fur, and I was like standing on it, and it was like flying around. And I was like, and I was going over like the crocodile that comes out of the floor and shit like that. I said, I don't know why the fuck I dreamed that. But so it like brought it all back when I went on that ride again, because I haven't been on the ride since I was a kid. They don't have the Snow White one anymore. I remember the Snow White one being scary as shit. They have a Snow White adjacent thing, which is the dwarf, what is it called? The Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or something. But we didn't get to go on that because my sister had been on it, but she's like, it's not really worth it. So we didn't bother. But because it was getting late and there was like a show and we wanted to like watch the parade and everything. But I remember the Snow White ride at Disney being like scary.
I liked it.
Like I did too.
When the Snow White came, or the fucking
witch came out. Yeah, and that's why I was just kind of like, oh man, they don't have that anymore. They don't have that anymore. They, like I said, they do have the mine train.
Little kids don't deserve that shit.
Well, they still have, but they still have Peter Pan, and that has like some scary shit in it. And they still have, they don't have Mr. Toad anymore, but they replaced Mr. Toad with like Winnie the Pooh. But the Winnie the Pooh ride, because I was like, well, I want to see this, because I used to really like Mr. Toad, and I was like, I haven't been on the Winnie the Pooh ride, but I actually like the Winnie the Pooh one. Like most of it's kind of cute, but they did have a whole like Heffalumps and Woozles room, which was actually like kind of trippy and like disturbing. And I was like, all right, I approve. I like this. It was kind of like fucked up, like with the song and everything, and it was all like a fucking acid trip. And I was like, all right, this is cool. I like it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was fun, and obviously like the Haunted Mansion. God damn, I love that fucking Haunted Mansion. It's just, it's so fun. And the thing about it, we were talking about this at the park. I said, you know what is kind of a shame? It's like I almost kind of want to go through the Haunted Mansion like on foot and just like look at everything, like all the details in there, because there's so much detail. I mean, that's true of like all their rides, because they really kind of like put so much little detail in there that most people are probably not even going to notice. But it's like, I kind of wish that I could just walk around in there and look at everything. And I was trying to this time, because I've been on it a million times. But this time I was kind of trying to like I'm trying to look at all the paintings and like because there's all those like little bitty details and shit like that. And I said, well, it'd be cool if you could walk through, like, just if you had, you know, all the time in the world to like walk through. But I said, in a way, I don't want to do that because it would like demystify it.
If you guys could go ahead and hit the like button, man, that'd help us out some. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. Try to get our fucking algorithms better.
Hugo said I'm dressing up as Lemmy Kilmister this year.
Second time you said that. Am I looking like Lemmy or something? I'm bringing it out of him. Yeah, fucking old Lemmy.
Jeffy Art said, they're talking about peanut specials. I love the one with Snoopy as the Easter Beagle. Man, I think I only saw that one time. I barely remember that one. Marcy didn't know how to make Easter eggs, much to Patty's chagrin. Yeah. Aw. Holy Parish of Doom said we saw Terrifier 2 last night. Oh, I've been wanting to see that.
Terrifier was fucking good.
I really liked the first Terrifier. Yeah. Camp Guy said, what's new with the old alien encounter in Tomorrowland? I don't know what's in there. They are building, because we did get on the People Mover like when we first got there. Just to kind of look at all of Tomorrowland and stuff. I don't know what's in there, but they are building a massive Tron area. They're going to do like the light cycles and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, because I was asked, because my sister knows a bunch of stuff about Disney, because like I said, she loves Disney. So I was like, it's right next to, if you've ever been to Disney World, it's right next to like the Tomorrowland Speedway, where you can like drive the little race cars and stuff. And I said, well, are they incorporating all of that into the Tron thing, or like, are they going to make that into the light cycle? She's like, I don't think so, but they're doing like a whole, I mean, they were working on it still. Like, it doesn't look like much of anything now, but they had built like all the top of it. So it's all going to be like a Tron kind of thing. So I thought that would be kind of cool, but I don't know. And I'm trying to think of like some of the other stuff that we went on there. And Splash Mountain, the ride is staying the same, because like we went on Splash Mountain and it's still Song of the South. They said it's gonna be the ride's gonna be the same, but they're gonna update it to Princess and the Frog, because that's like a newer, and you know there's already frogs in there, so they don't have to change all that much, I guess. But I had forgotten how fun that ride was. Man, I got soaking wet on that shit. My ass was all wet for like hours and hours, like afterward. With all the fucking water coming in there. And you know how that's the one where they take a picture of like when they do that big drop at the end? And I think the picture, it was just me going like that. Like trying to get fucking water out of my face. We got a good, I should tell my sister to send, because they send them through your phone now, the pictures. If you have like a pass. And they do pictures on the Haunted Mansion now, too. Like, at the end, when they do the hitchhiking ghosts part, they take a picture of you then and, like, send it to you. So we had, like, a really funny one, like, with the fucking ghost sitting in between us. And I was like, oh, I should have told her to send it to us. She just got home today. But, yeah, it was, like, it was super fun. Let's see. Danny Rowling said Batman Forever takes place on Halloween, kinda. Yeah, it's like, I'm trying to think of like I got a couple Halloween movies and Halloween books like picked out for the end of the month, like to talk about. But I don't know, man. I kind of feel like I already like talked about most of the best Halloween movies. Yeah, it's set in current time, but the whole thing feels like an 80s slasher, even some of the soundtracks. See, that sounds like right up my alley. I mean, the first Terrifier was so good. It was so good. And Bill Hinsman. Oh, okay. The first zombie in Night of the Living Dead, the 88 zombie film, takes place on Halloween and is free on YouTube. I think I might have seen that. Not that I can remember. Now, is Terrifier 2, is it in theaters or is it streaming? Like, what's the deal with that? Because I kind of want to watch it. Now, we have started watching, I think we said the other day, we did start watching Cobra Kai season 5. So we watched, what episode are we up to? We watched a bunch of episodes last night, but I can't remember what episode we're up to now. I'm really liking this series so far. But I mean, as always, the best shit is the Johnny Lawrence character. Like I like the other stuff too, like all the stuff with like Miguel and Daniel San and all of that. But I mean, William Zabka is just like, so he's fucking killing it. He's killing it. It's just like, so every time that he's in the show, and it's all about like how stuck in the 80s he is, and he doesn't know how Uber works, and he doesn't know how Grubhub works, and it's like he doesn't have a cell phone, and he's like calling Google Goggle and stuff like that. It's like that just kills me every fucking time. I love it. I love it. He's like the best part. He's the best part. And it's funny because I never would have thought that in a million years. Never would have thought that in a million years. That he would be like the best part of any show. And I cannot believe that Cobra Kai got seriously every motherfucker that was in the original, any one of the original like Karate Kid movies for like 5 seconds. They got them back like to be in the new show. I mean, as long as if they're still alive, but they got like all of them back. Everybody. It's crazy. It's crazy. Louis says, Jenny, have you seen the trailer for the new Let the Right One In series? I have not. Danny Rowling said Donnie Darko takes place on Halloween. It does, but we already did Donnie Darko. We already talked about Donnie Darko. And he also says Stephen King's Silver Bullet. You know what? We should probably do Silver Bullet one of these days. I don't think we've done Silver Bullet. Have we? The Stephen King adaptation? No, I don't think so. With Gary Busey. You love Gary Busey. Mm-hmm. And he is at peak Gary Busey in that movie. I like Silver Bullet. I don't care what anybody says. I remember actually, because it started out as like a graphic novel. And I used to check that out. I never bought it, but I used to check it out of the library all the time. Mm-hmm. You gonna talk so I can go to the bathroom?
Go ahead and go to the bathroom. I'm just trying to kill time. I don't really want to talk about Disney or anything. I'm getting ready to get out of this motherfucker. We're gonna go to the club tonight. So I'm seeing what everybody else is doing. Hold on. But I'm fucking starving. I want to get some breakfast sandwiches. I might have to run up to damn Circle K just to go buy something and bring it back here and microwave it. I got food downstairs. I even got breakfast sandwich. I don't have any bread. I don't have the bread that I need. I want some, what do you call them? English muffins. Rebecca's in. She says Silver Bullet was our Friday night staple movie with Lost Boys and Silence of the Lambs. Yeah. They're good movies. Adriana's in. What's up, Adriana? She says, was Karate Kid as huge in the 80s as it is now? Okay. The thing with Karate Kid came in a time when VHS was real popular. I was in high school at that time. You could get Karate Kid. Not only could you rent it at like Blockbuster, you could bootleg it. So you'd have copies of it. And you'd watch it over and over because it was of your age group. It was about being in high school. So
what was
Karate Kid?
Oh, okay.
It was huge, but you wouldn't have known it at the time if you were an adult. Adults weren't watching it. It was teenagers and people in high school that would watch it over and over again. And they made 3 movies, 3 Karate Kid movies, and I saw them all. They were all good. We liked them. I gotta say, the television series is in a way better, but it was all.
I agree.
But it was all built on those 3 movies.
Even
though those 3 movies were ridiculous, only the first 2 were really good. But see,
that's what's awesome about the show is that it acknowledges that the whole premise of the movie was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was fantasy,
but it kind of like, and the thing about it too is that I think the reason why it works is because it's kind of poking fun at the fact that it was ridiculous, but it's also really earnest.
Yeah,
like it's taking it seriously.
Grown
as well.
men with karate. Come on.
Yeah.
come on. That's
They
not
kind
that-
of, that's what I mean. It's like, and they got the right balance of like, they're kind of like
Yeah.
lampshading it a little bit. It's just like, yeah, we know this is a ridiculous premise and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but they're also taking it really seriously. And I think like they got the balance just right. And the thing about it is that I saw Karate Kid when I was, that age, when I was a teenager. It wasn't my favorite, though. Like, I liked it, but I was more into...
There was
like,
other movies.
The John Hughes movies and, Better Off Dead with John Cusack. And, like, I liked stuff like that, like Valley Girl with Nicolas Cage.
We liked Karate Kid, but we were watching also Terminator 1.
Yeah, well, that too. I'm just talking about,
RoboCop.
I'm talking about, like, teen movies.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
There was a bunch of other stuff going on at the time.
Yeah.
And during
Labyrinth,
this time...
that was another one that
Labyrinth.
I was really into.
During this time, if you were a boy, you were probably hanging out at 7-Eleven because you couldn't go to a fucking nightclub. And 7-Eleven had video games that were karate fucking themed. One of them, I think, was called Kung Fu or something. It might have been called Karate. Where, you
Just
had
karate.
Yeah, it might have been called Karate.
The generic karate game.
You had a guy in a white gi and a guy in a red gi, and fucking fight, begin, and fucking, and it was like some of the very first fighting games.
So like Mortal Kombat, but proto
Before
Mortal Kombat.
that. And then you also had like Shinobi coming in.
You've got that on your Xbox, don't you?
Yeah. So, and then Ghosts and Goblins and shit like that, Gauntlet. So there was a big martial arts fucking influence in teen culture at that time.
Yep.
And you're hanging out at 7-Eleven, and there's a right behind you're playing these fucking video games, Spy Hunter and stuff. And behind you is a magazine rack, and in that magazine rack is like guns and ammo, and also like kung fu and karate magazines. There was no internet, so you didn't know what was true. You didn't know, and karate was making some fucking incredible claims. That they could throw chi balls and knock people over with chi power. And I'd seen some weird shit, in the paranormal range, in terms of fucking poltergeists and shit like that. So I thought maybe karate could do that too. It was just another time you could lie and get away with some fucking crazy shit back in those days. Even before. A lot of the stuff about Bruce Lee wasn't true. So this stuff is all mythical. It's mythological. And you're not sure what's actually physical. You're not really sure what's physically possible or not. And karate was part of that. And
I was going to say, in regards to whether Karate Kid was really big in the 80s, I'm going to say that not just like the Kung Fu magazines, but you also had like the teen girl like Bop and Teen Beat and Tiger Beat and all that kind of shit. And Ralph Macchio was all over that shit.
Yeah.
All over that shit. So yeah, he was on the covers of all the stuff. So yeah, it was a big deal.
Girls
like I
like
said, I wasn't real into it because like I said, he looked, even though I was probably like the same age as him, but he still looked like a kid to me.
it was a lesbian thing.
And
That was...
I wasn't and I liked Karate Kid, but it wasn't my favorite. Like I said, teen movies when I was growing, I was really into, when I was a teenager, I was really into like the John Hughes movies. I really liked Pretty in Pink and Breakfast Club and Some Kind of Wonderful. I liked all of those.
Yeah.
I liked Valley Girl from like the early 80s.
Ralph Macchio looked like a butch lesbian back in those days.
Well, he looked
And
like
girls fucking
a
liked him.
kid.
He looked like a kid.
I mean, which I kind of feel like, well, what I thought, like, when he would be on the cover of the magazines and stuff like that, because at that point I was like 16 or something like that. I was like, he looked like younger than me.
It was some gender bending shit.
He looked younger than me.
Yeah. That was the same with fucking Michael J. Fox.
Plus, I was more into like Duran Duran.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Michael J. Fox was big before that. About a year or so before that. And girls fucking liked him, and it was always these kind of fucking little cute guys that they were. But that was like Teen Beat type magazines.
Yeah. I used to see the covers of those, like in the.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'd buy them if they had Duran Duran in there.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, it was just a funny time. The karate angle was kind of like a paranormal promise. You had small guys in their teenage years clutching on to this fucking fantasy that maybe a small guy could beat up a big guy. That was the selling point of Kung Fu. Now, can a small guy beat up a big guy? No. No, not in general. And under certain circumstances, yeah, but if a dude could pick you up, he can beat your ass. That's why children don't beat up adults. Okay.
Unless the adult is really, really drunk.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's difficult to get around mass. When it comes to, like, in mechanics with cars and motorcycle, they have a saying called, there is no replacement for displacement. And that's true. If you got a motorcycle that's fucking 1,400 cc's, a fucking 5-valve per cylinder fucking motorcycle, a 250 is not going to beat it. There is no... You can put all the superchargers and turbochargers that you want. There is no replacement for displacement. It's the same with dudes. If a dude's fucking 6'1", fucking weighs 220 pounds of pure muscle, and you're 5'5" and weigh 145 pounds, you don't fucking stand a chance. That dude's gonna beat the shit out of you, karate or not. That's what karate was about. It was this weird paranormal promise that a small guy could beat up a big guy, which is like that's a Japanese fantasy, you know? That's where that comes from.
Well, it's kind of like any dude that's kind of small, I guess, or gets picked on.
It's a
that's
Japanese
like any
fantasy.
that's any fantasy that they have. It's like, I'm going to get back at like all the bullies like guys that are bigger than me.
If you go back and look at Bruce Lee and who was Chinese American, Kung Fu, and then you can go into karate with the Japanese guys back in the 60s and the 70s, they would not fight a Western fighter. They would make up a bunch of excuses why they won't fight a Western fighter. Because that shit wouldn't have worked. Proof was in the pudding. There's a Chinese guy who's an MMA fighter who is the size and the weight of a Western MMA fighter, and he was going in China fucking challenging these fucking 60-year-old Tai Chi masters that said that they could fucking knock you down with chi balls and all that. And there's videos of this dude just going beating the shit out of those dudes. All right. Mental powers and fucking chi balls and speed won't help you. Okay? It's not what fighting's about. Mass has a lot to do with it. Mass and strength. So, your karate fantasy goes out the window with that. You can say, well, skill and speed, yeah, that might help you a little bit, but not over time. Not over time. Fights always involve fucking and they end up on the ground in submission holds where strength and mass have a lot to do with it. Okay, I'm off that subject.
Danny Rowling said as big as ninjas were in the 80s, they should revamp the ninja movies. I mean, thank God there were so many ninja movies.
Ninjas need to come back.
Mastill says, my favorite 80s movie as a kid was Wes Craven's Shocker. I remember that one.
Yeah. When
they jump into the TV and are fighting in the news studio in World War II, etc. seemed so cool to me. The soundtrack was also good. We should probably review that because I haven't seen that in a long time. Adriana C. said, John Cusack and James Spader looked fine back in the day. They did. James Spader is like an attractive man, but every time, like, I guess I kind of got... He was attractive to me, but not because of the asshole characters that he always played. He always played, like, the quintessential yuppie asshole. I guess it's just because of him being, like, in Pretty in Pink, and I was just like, man, I just want to punch that dude right in the fucking dick. But John Cusack, I love. I love John Cusack. And, like, I would watch anything that he's in. Like, Say Anything was great. Better Off Dead was great. If you haven't seen Better Off Dead from, I think it was 1985, please watch that. I love that fucking movie so much. It's so good. I saw it like 1,000,000 times, like back in the day. Yeah, they're talking about Shokasugi, Enter the Ninja, Pray for Death, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I can like fucking ninjas, man. It was like ninja movies, breakdancing movies, anything that was like any kind of like fucking.
See, Louis in there. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. He says, "Yeah, I used to hang out at 7-Eleven reading the fucking Kung Fu magazines." Yes, that's right, Louis. It was a universal consonant in.
Well, I used to
old school.
I used to hang out at 7-Eleven playing Joust or playing whatever game they had, because they switched them out. They only had two, like in the back room. So whatever one they had, sometimes it was Joust, sometimes it was Miss Pac-Man. It was just depending on, like, some of the machines are broken, and then they bring in another one, and blah blah blah. So you go in there, you get your fucking Snoopy chocolate pie. You go in there, you play Joust or whatever.
Now we did a show on ninjas. It didn't get very many hits. It wasn't really, that show really wasn't titled correctly. People didn't really watch it. Ninjas did not exist. They just didn't.
Not anything like what you see in the movies.
It's a myth.
Yeah.
The Japanese thought they existed back in the 1700s, 1800s. They thought ninjas existed. But they're reading stuff from centuries before and kind of misunderstanding it. The closest you'll ever get to a ninja is there's some Japanese historical writings that involve an attack on a certain castle, and that some shinobi were used to do some stuff. But what they're describing is nothing more than just normal soldier tactics of raiding outposts and using arson to weaken up an enemy fortification before an attack. Based on that and a bunch of other stuff, the Japanese started to imagine things like shinobi, which ended up becoming ninja, as having near supernatural powers. But they never existed. It was like a mythological creature from Japanese folklore. And there were no ninjutsu clans back in those days. The Japanese of the fucking like Tokugawa period, which would be like late 1700s, 1800s, imagined that stuff had once existed, but it didn't. Already went through that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Danny Rowling's talking about the Octagon with Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Actually, that was, of all the Chuck Norris movies that have ever been made, of which I think I've seen every single one of them, which, you know, for reasons that I've gone into previously. The Octagon, that's like the second one that I would watch. Actually, the only one that I would actually watch again willingly was Silent Rage, because that was actually like a horror movie, and that was actually like pretty good. It was like a serial killer. But the Octagon's pretty good too. That's like my second favorite out of all the ones that I didn't like. Rebecca said, I had a crush big time on Michael Dudikoff in the early 90s when he was in Cobra. Such a bad show, but he was so pretty. That's my embarrassing moment for the show today.
Danny's asking about what about the Iga ninjas and ninja villages. All that stuff is later. It's mythology that came later after the stories of shinobi and ninja. There were no ninja. Okay, there were shinobi, but shinobi has something to do with, I don't remember the exact Japanese word. It meant special operations. You're talking about special operation mercenary soldiers doing very common soldierly duties. Nighttime raid, sentry removal, arson. Terror tactics is what they're talking about. But it wasn't some kind of a clannish, secretive organization or a mafia or anything like that. It was normal professional soldier activities. For all eras, every soldier did that. It just happened to be called a shinobi attack. Or in other words, a special operations attack, a raid. That's what they're talking about. But no, there weren't any... There were stories of stuff like that, but they were always shinobi, this and that, and fucking special. Because here's the problem. Let's say you're a warlord, and you're trying to attack another warlord. Why the hell would you spend good money on some kind of weird clan of dudes that you don't know if you can trust or not, when you have your own soldiers that you know you can trust, and you can have them do it? And that's just the way professional warfare is. You don't hire mercenaries to do stuff like that when you got your own guys. Your own guys go do it. And what they were being asked was not anything really special. Nighttime raid, that's all it is. Now, that would have been a big deal to the fucking samurai, because the samurai class were kind of honor bound, and they had a bunch of rules like, you have to fucking clearly delineate when combat starts and when it ends, and it has to happen during daylight hours, and it's got to be fair and square. We got to face each other on the battlefield, all honorable and shit. Special operations are not like that. It's let's go there the day before and we'll soften them up. We'll set some shit on fire. So tomorrow when we have the big fight, they won't have all their supplies ready. You're going to use your own guys to do that, a nighttime raid. You're not going to use some kind of exotic mercenary. You don't need them. Your guys can handle that. So that's one of the big things against this ninja thing. And then when some people say, well, the ninjas, though, they were good at psychological warfare and raping people and stuff, because that's part of the ninja lore. You could also have your own guys doing that. You don't need to hire outside help for that. It's just... No, the ninja were mythological. The Japanese thought they were around at one time, but they weren't. They're just talking about soldiers.
What fun is that?
Yeah.
No fun at all.
Yeah.
I want ninjas that have those fucking headbands on that say ninja on them.
Yeah, ninja with the fucking rising sun and
like
shit.
In the fucking
like a motorcycle logo from Kawasaki.
But that's what it was. That's where they got this from in that movie.
The actual black ninja outfit actually comes from Japanese theater, and those are the stage hands that change the stages and do things. And there was evidently some famous Japanese opera where those stage hands took swords and fought a guy on stage, and you really couldn't see him because he blended in with the background, and it was kind of like a guy fighting demons or invisible enemies. That doesn't work in real life. Black is not a good camouflage. If you wear black in nature, you stick out like a sore thumb. What's better is something kind of like, Marpat, or fucking OD Green, or fucking Coyote, or, fucking... What's that damn fucking shit that I got over there? Fucking fucking jungle tiger stripe, which is Asian tiger stripe. That works good. Black is not a good camouflage unless you're on a Japanese opera stage. That's where that shit came from.
All right, so are we ready to wrap it up?
Shut it down.
Yeah, Blair Dude said it's 8 o'clock. Shut that shit down.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut that shit down.
Well, that was a long time ago, but we kept talking about ninjas. So
okay, it's only 6 minutes.
So we're gonna go and have something to eat real quick, and then I got about an hour to get ready, and then we're gonna go out and hopefully it was a cyberpunk party. I'm not doing an outfit or nothing like that. I don't have nothing like that. I already know what I'm going to wear anyway. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. But yeah, thank you everybody for hanging out with us this Friday evening. Thank you for super chats. Please remember to like the video because that does help with the algorithms. So hopefully we'll see you guys again on Sunday. I don't know what movie we're going to be talking about. It'll be whatever we end up watching tomorrow night, which will depend on whatever our mood is tomorrow night. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out with us this evening, and we will see you guys again on Sunday afternoon. Good night.